Hello and welcome to this episode of Sharing the Light. But before we bring the Sharing the Light episode on, let me take this opportunity to invite you, if you're ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, to worship with us on Sunday mornings at 9 and 10:30 a.m. You can find out more information about the Sunshine Cathedral by visiting our website at www.sunshinecathedral.org. Now, let's join the next episode of Sharing the Light with Reverend Dr. Durrell Watkins, who is the senior pastor of the Sunshine Cathedral, and Reverend Cindy Lippert as they discuss the law of attraction. Welcome back to another episode of Sharing the Light, the discussion show that we have here, the talk show that we have here at the Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And our guest today again is the Reverend Cindy Lippert, or I should say my guest, because there's not 3 or 4 of us today, there's just 2. And what we're talking about today is the law of attraction. You've probably heard a lot about the law of attraction or The Secret, although the law of attraction, people were writing about it long before The Secret. And you may think of it as manifestation or manifesting or demonstrating or magnetism or pulling things into your environment or finding just what you need. What do we mean? Like, let's take it out of spooky language and weird, freaky, crystal ball. What, just for the regular old Joe, what is the law of attraction? Why is it important? How can we make it work? What is the law of attraction?
Okay, have you ever had a thought about, gee, I sure would like some ice cream. I wonder where there might be some. And you're in the car, and all of a sudden, ta-da, there's a Baskin Robbins, and you didn't know it was there. Our thoughts do play a huge role in what we think about, what we spend time thinking about. I've heard it said that we spend most of our time either worrying or waiting for things that never happen. And we have these divine moments of sheer ecstasy and pure pain. So, life is made up of a lot of this. What if we intentionally chose what we thought about and chased away things we didn't want to think about, and then spent more time like storyboarding in your mind? Some people actually put it out on a bulletin board. I've heard that Oprah had a storyboard about Barack Obama's inauguration, and the center of it was a beautiful haute couture design gown that she would wear at his inauguration. So, of course, it helps to be the richest woman in the world.
Yeah. But she didn't start out the richest woman in the world.
No, she did not.
She had a very difficult upbringing in the rural South, and so she probably had to work on some attitudes and how she was going to choose to see things and what she was going to choose to believe about herself to get to where she is today. Because it certainly wasn't handed to her. She didn't. She wasn't born with it. And if you are lucky enough to be born with it, yay!
Right.
But if not, that doesn't mean that there aren't ways that you can still have a lot of joy and achievement in your life. And Oprah's a wonderful example of that.
She sure is.
I tell people from the pulpit, I'll say in writing, that what we focus on, we tend to attract or create or drift toward. And I always use the example of bowling or golf or driving, and that example I actually heard from you at a conference one time. We talked about your husband, a race car driver. That what we focus on, that's where all our energy is going, and that's what makes things, if not happen, it's what makes us find them or believe in them or notice them. Like the Baskin Robbins didn't just pop up because I wanted some ice cream, but my mind started looking for it. My mind knew there had to be ice cream somewhere, and so throughout this large net. And now I noticed the Baskin Robbins I may have driven by 30 times and never noticed. So that what we focus on, we drift toward or create or attract, and that gratitude is focus, and hope is focus, and fear is focus. And so if we can choose our thoughts create feelings, and our habitual feelings create attitudes. And so when we're changing our thoughts, we're changing our feelings and our attitudes. And once we've changed that, we've changed our experience. The rain falls on the just and the unjust, but if I'm caught in the rain, is it a fun, silly, childlike experience, or is it a disaster that's going to mess up my hair, get my clothes wet? And it's the same rain, but how I've experienced it was totally up to what I thought about it, and I was always in charge of what I could think about it.
Exactly. And you mentioned the race car drivers, and we can actually learn a lot about metaphysics from race car drivers, believe it or not. The simple idea is the car goes where the eyes are looking.
Right.
Boy, is that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. The more we focus on our studies, whether it's in ministry or brain surgery or anything, the more proficient we become, and access to information and resources and networking. That's why social media like LinkedIn is so good for professional people, because they've got their name out there, their bio, and how they can network with each other. And, there's an old saying, birds of a feather flock together. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that. Your mind goes to that. My mother, who was Baptist all her life, had a saying that she was God's spoiled child. She could have about anything she put her mind on. Mm-hmm. See, she knew metaphysics and didn't even know that that's what it was. Mm-hmm. So then the question is posed. So if I just think about it, I have it. It's not quite that simple, is it? Mm-mm. There's more to it. And do we create everything that pops up in our lives because we thought about it? Like, oh, I hope I don't win the lottery. Or, oh, I hope I do win the lottery. People say, well, if you're worried about things and you're afraid, it'll happen. So I think we all should say, oh, I hope I don't win the lottery. That's from my friend Carol Biggs. So far it hasn't worked, but we'll let you know. The truth about the law of attraction is simply this. Sometimes stuff just happens, but then it becomes more about what do we do with the stuff that showed up. In other words, what do we do with the lemons that just showed up in our lives? Catherine Ponder, famous New Thought minister, known for her prosperity attitude and demonstrations, had a horrible car wreck one time, got out of the car, and they witnessed her saying, through her tears, I can hardly wait to see the blessing that comes from this. Mm. So it's how can we take our attitudes and shift it. I had a situation just yesterday at the airport. Somebody grabbed my bag, and I didn't know it, and my bag, I thought it was my bag, and I realized it wasn't my bag. It looked just like it. And the belt stopped, and I decided...
It sounds like a bad spy movie. Did this really happen?
It's a bad spy movie. But it's just like, this is that old saying, if you stay prayed up. Mm-hmm. I was prayed up. Mm-hmm. Because I grabbed the bag, it occurred to me, whoever's got my bag, they're going to need this bag. And this bag is my key to get my bag back. And I grabbed the manager of the baggage area, and I said, somebody's got my bag, it looks just like this. And he was able to call the person, and within 3 minutes I had my bag back. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, what is your mind stayed on? Is it stayed on solution? Dodging that bullet, so to speak?
Eric Butterworth said it, Norman Vincent Peale said it, Ernest Holmes said it, and it's true, isn't it? If you change your thoughts, you change your world. Yeah. I went to a couple of times, I went to this person to get my haircut, and I just didn't like it. I just didn't like the way she did it. And so I started going to another place, and loved the way this other woman did it. So one time, not too long ago, I couldn't go to my barber that I'd fallen in love with, and I remember this other one that was nearby, and you could always get right in. And so I go in, but I'm like, she's not the only one who works there. Maybe I won't get her. Maybe I'll get someone else. So I went by. Sure enough, she's the one I get, and I'm like. So I thought about leaving, and instead I just stopped. I said, you know what? This woman is a trained professional. She is licensed by the state of Florida. She's been doing this for God knows how many years. She knows how to cut hair. And so I just said, this woman is going to give me a great haircut. I'm going to be very satisfied with it. She's a skilled person, and through her hands, I'm going to get this wonderful haircut that I'll be very, very happy with. And she did a marvelous job, and I'll see her anytime I need to now. I mean, she did a great job. Oh, the only thing, she didn't go, as far as I know, she didn't take any extra classes along the way. My hair didn't become easier to work with. The only thing that changed, and maybe I didn't even get a better haircut than ever before, but my experience changed because I made a choice. I just made a decision. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to give her a chance. And it worked out. Now, if it works out for silly little things like that, or the parking place. That's always the famous one, I manifested a parking place or whatever. Then why can't you get more proficient at it
Right.
and find good friends, or maybe the love of your life, or a career that you're very satisfied with, or go back to school, or lose a few pounds, or quit smoking, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Like as the 12-step programs have taught us, it works if you work it.
Yes. And it doesn't if you don't.
Right.
Well,
And that's what they say about coming to 12-step meetings. If you, like, okay, I came to 2 or 3 meetings, I'm still struggling with this issue, and they say, keep coming to meetings.
Work it.
It works if you work it.
Right.
So it's not always instant.
Right.
But if you keep working, and you were talking about limits to eliminate, that also reminded me of difficulties. Sometimes we didn't create them. We didn't want them. The rain falls on the just and the unjust. But they do show what we've got in us.
yes.
You know, when you squeeze a lemon, out comes lemon juice. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Apple juice never comes out of an orange. So when those things squeeze us, it does show us what we've been thinking about,
Yes.
what attitudes we've been working on. When Catherine Ponder said, "I can't wait to see what blessing comes out of this," she was squeezed, and her consciousness came out, and it was a consciousness of optimism and peace and gratitude. But if it was one of anxiety and blame and regret
Sure.
and all of that, would have been, I can't believe this has happened again, blah, blah. So they are moments that can show us what we still need to work on. And that's in itself a blessing if we're open to it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of folks think, oh, God will just drop $1,000 in my lap. It'll just come, I'll just quit my job and I'll just be taken care of. Again, it's metaphysical thinking.
Yeah.
It just
what
doesn't.
God does for us, God does through us.
Exactly.
And easy come, easy go. If you got
Yeah.
$1,000 overnight, you might not have it the next night.
Correct.
So,
And the reason for that is we don't have the consciousness to keep it. But what we really do is focus on divine ideas that are ways that we can make the money, that we can create that income and that prosperity.
so the law of attraction is basically what the 12 steps told us. It works if you work it. That it's about choosing what we focus on, and as we choose our focus, we also then become aware of what we need to do, and aware of opportunities that we can take, and what we see we can seize. Sometimes it works quickly, sometimes it works, it doesn't, it takes some time, but the law of attraction really isn't magic as much as it's cooperating with the world the way it works naturally.
Yes.
Well, then I hope all of our viewers find themselves attracting a lot of joy into their lives. Thank you for sharing this time with us on Sharing the Light.
Thank you for joining us for another great episode of Sharing the Light. Tell your friends about this online ministry, and when you're in Southeast Florida, make sure you worship with us on a Sunday at the 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. service. And now for a final word from our senior pastor, the Reverend Dr. Durrell Watkins.
Email me at Durrell@sunshinecathedral.net if you have a religious question or if you'd like to subscribe to our daily devotional magazine, Spirit and Truth. We'll send it anywhere in the United States for an annual donation of any size. You can also email us prayer requests, or you can make donations on our website, www.sunshinecathedral.org. You'll also want to check out our great performing arts series, religious education classes, conferences, and other exciting activities. For now, we wish you many blessings on your spiritual journey.